Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Sleep apnea affects millions across the country. It's normal, but it is important to maintain. And our own president deals with sleep apnea and wears a CPAP machine to help keep his sleep under control. And this morning, we're joined by Dr. Brian Curtis to share why it's so important you get help when it comes to sleep apnea. Good morning, Dr. Curtis.
Hey, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me. And if you could tell us what sleep apnea is and how common is it?
Yeah, so we think about 30 million people actually have sleep apnea, but only about 6 million are diagnosed. So it's actually a lot more common than people think it is, and a lot more people out there need to get treated for it. And really basically what it is people stop breathing at night. And so there's two types. There's the central and obstructive, and the most common is the obstructive, which is the snorers. And so usually those are men, usually older, usually can be overweight. But it can also be from your facial size, and basically your tongue and soft palate kind of obstruct your airway at night.
And how can that affect, your everyday life?
Yeah, so what happens is you obstruct, and so you snore, you stop breathing, you wake up, and it kind of cycles all night. And so you can wake up hundreds of times at night. So you wake up not rested. So you wake up, you're fatigued, you're tired, you can fall asleep at work, fall asleep at the wheel, fall asleep in school, and so car accidents, lost productivity, and then ultimately it can affect your health.
Going off of that, how can it affect your health?
Yeah, so like the president has an irregular heartbeat they talk about, and that's probably directly related to a sleep apnea. It can also cause diabetes, which is actually not associated with obesity, and so it's an independent risk factor for sleep apnea. Sudden death. So if you remember Reggie White, a big Green Bay Packer, he died of a sudden death episode, likely from his sleep apnea.
Wow.
Heart failure, hypertension, atrial fibrillation, stroke. And so really has a lot of factors. And if you have a health problem, it will make it worse.
And with that being said, how can you treat it? What do you do to make sure that you are not suffering with those health issues or with sleep apnea?
Yeah, so the easiest way for the obstructive sleep apnea, which is what the president has, is a CPAP machine. And they're a lot better than they used to be. And so there's different mask types and everything like that. And that's probably the easiest and most effective way to treat it.
So now if you're living with sleep apnea, but you live alone or, don't have a roommate or anything like that, how do you know if you're struggling with it?
Yeah, so usually the signs are you're just so tired. I mean, you wake up, you sleep, 8 or 10 hours, you wake up, you're more as tired or more tired than when you kind of went to sleep. You're irritable, you're moody. And so really if you have those kind of symptoms, it's actually good for you to go see your doctor. And there's a couple, it's a really called a stop bang. It's a really kind of easy, quick screen test to see if you need to be screened for sleep apnea.
Is there anything else aside from a CPAP machine that will diminish that sleep apnea?
Yeah, depending on what it is, there's some, oral mouthpieces. Sometimes they'll do things where people won't give you something so you won't sleep on your back. There's some surgeries that you can undergo for the sleep apnea.
Gotcha.
But again, most common we use a CPAP machine.
All right. Well, good to know. So for those of you who have sleep apnea, this is a perfect way to get rid of it and work with your doctors and learn more about it. But thank you so much, Dr. Curtis, for joining us this morning. And of course, we will share all these details on our website, CIproud.com.